Good morning, children. Welcome back to our social session. Hope you all are doing well. In the previous class, we learnt about our earth and the globe. So we have seen that globe was divided into two equal halves, vertically and horizontally. And what are the imaginary lines drawn on those globe? We discussed them in detail. Today, we learn about something new about the earth. The earth on which we live, is it uniform? No. You find some high rises and steep slopes. So these somewhere looks mountains, and in some places you find lowlands. All these high rising and low lands are called as the landforms, or the relief features of a place. So in today's class, we shall learn about the third part A, third lesson, third unit part A, landforms. The different forms of the land we shall discuss in today's class. There are three main kinds of landforms. One is mountains. Second one is plateau. And third one is plain or plains. So in our unit, let us today discuss about the mountains, plateaus and plains. What are mountains, what are plains and what are plateaus? Here, first let us go with the mountains. When we look at the hills, there are several hills which are present around us. So when you look at these hills, children, there are mountain ranges which are very high and they have very steep slopes. Generally the mountains have very steep slope and they also are very high rising. But they have very little flat land over them. Very little flat land over them. These mountain ranges like Himalayas, Aravalis, Vindhyas, Satpuras, these all are the mountains which cover India from different parts, from different sides, in different directions. In our state too, we have mountains in Adilabad, Nirmal, Jagityal, Mehboob Nagar, Nagar Karnool, Peddapalli. In these regions also we find many kinds of hilly terrains. These hilly terrains they look like the pockets of the scattered hills and mountains. These are the Satmala hills in Adilabad and Nirmal, and even Balagat range in Mehboob Nagar and Nagar Karnool, and rocky hills of Peddapalli and Jagityal, and even Karimnagar and this region, Kandikal of Peddapalli and Jagityal region you find rocky hills, and Kandikal hills of Jayashankar, Bhupalpalli and Peddapalli districts, and you find in Vikarabad Anantagiri hills from where the river Musi takes its birth. So these are the different kinds of hills which are present in Telangana region. Whereas the second landform is a plateau. Plateau is also a highland, but they have much flat land over them, and they doesn't have steep slopes like mountains have steep slopes. The plateaus doesn't have the steep slopes. So the landscape is uneven with ups and downs, but the slope is not as you find in the mountains. The land on the plateau is also not even, it is uneven, ups and downs will be there, and often this terrain will be rocky surface. Plateau region, flat area will have rocky surface, and Deccan Plateau is one of the largest plateau in India. As you find mountains, there are different kinds of mountains like Himalayas, Aravalis, Vindhyas and etc. Coming to the plateau, you find Deccan Plateau, which is the largest plateau region in India. Okay. Apart from Deccan Plateau, we also have Malwa Plateau and Chota Nagpur Plateau. So these plateau regions are generally above the sea level, very high, but they have much flat land which is uneven and which has a rocky surface. Deccan Plateau, which is very high, has a high and steep edge on the western side called as scarp. So these edges on the western side, we call them as the Western Ghats. We call them as Western Ghats. And on the eastern side also you find the same kind of edge, the eastern edge, which we call them as Eastern Ghats. So India's eastern side you find Eastern Ghats, and India's western side you find Western Ghats, and in between is the Deccan Plateau. So Deccan Plateau edges on the eastern side is Eastern Ghats, and on the western side it is called as Western Ghats. And even the Telangana Plateau on which we are living today, okay, so this Telangana Plateau is also a part of a Deccan Plateau, which is one of the largest plateau in India. Even much of Telangana comes under the Telangana Plateau, and Telangana Plateau is a part of the Deccan Plateau. Telangana Plateau is further divided into two. One is Upper Telangana Plateau and the other one is Lower Telangana Plateau. The Upper Telangana Plateau includes districts like Adilabad, Nirmal, Nizamabad, and even Rangareddy, Vikarabad. Even Hyderabad and Secunderabad also comes under the higher Telangana Plateau, whereas Warangal and Karimnagar comes under the lower Telangana Plateau. And coming to the third important landform are the plains. So plains are the flat bottomed lands which have gentle slopes, and India has a very large plains because of the rivers cutting. So we have the rivers like Indus, River Ganga, River Godavari, River Krishna. These all rivers along with their tributaries form very beautiful plains which are prosperous for agriculture because their soil is very fertile. Plains soil is very fertile. So Indus river and its tributaries have created good plains in the area of Punjab and Haryana. Whereas Ganga, which stretches between Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Bengal region, has created Gangetic plain. And on the eastern side of India, Godavari and Krishna, which cuts through the Telangana Plateau and enters into Bay of Bengal, on the eastern side, we also even have eastern coastal plains. Those are coastal plains. These coastal plains are present in the states like Odisha, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. And these all form one of the India's largest plain region in the country. Indo-Gangetic plain are considered as the largest plains in the country, and they are very prosperous for agriculture. Apart from the mountains, plateaus and plains, children, there are other landforms like deltas and valleys, which we shall learn in our next class. But right now you take the map of Telangana and point out different landforms. As we have discussed, in Telangana we have the mountain ranges like the Satmala, Balaghat and even Rocky Hills and Anantagiri Hills. Point out all these hills. And coming to the plateau, point out the upper Telangana Plateau and lower Telangana Plateau. Coming to the plains, point out the coastal plains. Of course, Telangana doesn't have any coastal plains, but the Godavari and Krishna, which dissect Telangana, they flow, they are tilting towards the eastern side. So Godavari and Krishna, which takes their birth in the Western Ghats, they flow across Maharashtra, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and they join into the eastern side of Bengal. That is nothing but in the Bay of Bengal. So point out these all things in the outline map of Telangana and present it. Thank you, children.